Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. We're here with Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, WCS Spring Fling is well underway. It's in the air, so to speak. And then we both had the opportunity to be involved in a pretty historic event down at Nissan Stadium with girls flag football finishing up their season.
Well, it's kind of like a train. Starts out slow, and then it keeps speeding up, full head of steam, runaway locomotive. That's how we are heading into spring fling and all the sports. Get ready. As usual, we're going to go to spring fling, Chattanooga, and not Chattanooga, Murfreesboro. We're going to make a lot of noise.
Probably find us a fine eating establishment to go to in between.
Just tell me what you're looking for. Wings, slick pig, meat and three, City Cafe. Or we can go out towards Christiana, go by Green's Grocery.
I got a feeling we'll find something off the beaten path that not many people know about.
No question about it. No question about it. Hey, look, one of my favorite times. Smyrna, great place in Smyrna. But yeah, I can't wait. I think we're gonna, as usual, we're gonna perform very, very well. And then the flag football tournament, is that the right championship day? Golly, it did not disappoint.
It was great.
What a great atmosphere, what a great venue. And, you know, I thought this was, it was unbelievable about it. I guess we're going to get into it a little bit more, or you want to do it now?
No, we will, and I'm sure we won't have much time at the end to talk about pick'ems, but we'll try to.
Oh, we won't? Funny.
We'll try to slip that in.
When you start, yeah. Well, you let me know when you're ready, because I was just impressed with the, you know, sometimes it shouldn't always be this way, but the people that are in attendance, you can tell how important the event is. It must have been a pretty dang important event.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Hey, before we move on to some of our results, how about the big get for Page girls basketball? Listen, losing a veteran, a successful coach like Ron Brock, I think was pretty tough, but the hiring of Randy Kaufman, I think we did okay.
I would say so. A guy who knows a little something about winning gold balls. Very successful coach. That was a big hire, and I got to give them and you credit. Y'all did a really good job of keeping that under wraps up until the very at the very end. That's a big hire, man. And now. You put him in there in this county, you've got him and Coach Wild. Those two guys together over 1,000 wins, almost 10 state championships. That's impressive.
To show you how we've progressed in girls basketball, let's just take that particular sport. Who would have thought 10 years ago that we would have two state champion girls basketball coaches from Riverdale who are now in our county?
Right.
I mean, it's right there with our other sports.
And it's not like there were some other good jobs open in the mid-states.
That's right.
That Coach Kaufman definitely could have had. I think that even speaks more volumes to how good these jobs are. And hey, make no mistake about it, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, he's not taking that job.
Right.
He's just not.
Well, and credit, too, to the young ladies who've done a good job there at Page and Coach Brock and his staff. That's an attractive job. And listen, I know they're losing Cochran and Wilkin, and that hurts, right? They've got some pieces back. Miss Bushman, who made a couple of fantastic catches out there playing flag football this past weekend, she'll be back to lead the squad too.
Went up and got them. I mean, it was. I had so much fun.
Very tight end-esque.
It was impressive. I know we're going to talk more about it. I had so much fun. But yeah, Coach Kaufman he'll do a great job there. There's reinforcements coming, and I'm sure there will, a lot of people move into this county. He will definitely bring. That will definitely be one of the places that you check out if you're a girls basketball player.
100%.
Plus, I don't know if we've talked enough about it. What the county's done with the facilities and the school buildings. I can't tell you how many people, for whatever reason, maybe they're going there, they're driving down Arno Road, and they'll call me and go, holy cow, Page Middle and Page High. What?
It's nice.
It's very nice.
And it's going to be really nice once it's done.
Yes.
Still a little work to do out there at the high school in particular.
But great job by Dr. Hill, Coach Gray, whoever else was involved. I'm sure Coach Brock had something to do with it. Great hire. Good job.
Great hire. Tennis, before we move on to track, want to wish good luck, although they may not need it. The Brentwood girls, Ravenwood boys, and Fairview boys all will be competing in the region tournament this week, so good luck to those teams.
Yes.
Track, Tate, we had our subsectional for our larger schools there at Ravenwood. Now it's push is coming to shove, so everybody's going to run their best, and no surprise on the girls and boys side, Brentwood wins the girls by 44.5 points over second place Ravenwood. On the boys' side, 38 points over second place Ravenwood. So, as we expected, I feel like Brentwood now is in postseason form. And look, when you're talking about tennis, when you're talking about track, obviously still have an opportunity in soccer, still have an opportunity in baseball. I'm going to be surprised now if Brentwood doesn't come home with 2 team state championships.
That'd pretty much put a stake in the Director's Cup.
It would. I know Coach Blair gets a little nervous. It's like, oh, we won't win this year. It would go a long way. It would definitely go a long way.
Well, you know they're going to win one.
Right, girls
Unless
track.
the bus runs out of gas.
Girls track, that's right.
And then they're so fast they could probably get off and run and still make it. But the girls are going to win the state track championship. So, hey, field events, relays, you know, they could, both boys and girls, they could go in there and win 2-3 relays. They could win the championship off field event and relays alone. Well, then you got your distance runners. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch.
Trending in the right direction.
I know you take a lot of pride in this. Now we're in the subsectional, right? So now it's getting real. Thanks for playing, everybody else. 1, Brentwood High. 2, Ravenwood. 3, Franklin. 4, Independence. And then Cane Ridge, who knows something about Coach Tribune, you know. Did you know this? They probably think Cane Ridge is part of WCS as much as we bump up Cane Ridge and the Tribunes. You know, she was the first female athlete inducted into Austin Peay Hall of Fame. She's in there as a basketball player and as a track and field athlete.
No, I did not know
My
that.
point is, Cane Ridge knows something about track and field, and they came in 5th place on the girls' side, 103 points behind Brentwood. Thanks for playing. Boys' side, Brentwood, 2, Ravenwood, 3, Franklin, and then Lebanon came in at 4th. So the sectionals might as well just be called the Williamson County pre-postseason meet.
Tate, if you look at those individual results, some names that we've seen all year on both sides, something that stood out to me is, and I'm wondering if you've ever seen this actually, that Reagan Grimes shot, put, and discus, Mason Green shot, put, and discus. So the shot and the discus, one school wins them all.
Yeah.
That's pretty rare.
I can't remember if Skylar.
Especially from Ravenwood. That hadn't always been.
No.
They've been kind of known for the running events, right?
I can't remember if Skylar and Catherine Coffey overlapped when they were brother sister, but if they did, then they probably did it then. So, but yeah, no, that's big. And the thing that's so important, so impressive about Reagan, there's been athletes that win the shot and win the discus, but they're not also on the 4x2 or 4x4. You know what I'm saying? She can also go out there and run with them. I think that's unbelievable.
And plays volleyball.
Yeah.
And basketball, Division I.
Correct. And had she been flag football,
I'm shocked she wasn't out there some.
it would have been. Well, they won 42-0.
So,
I'm glad she did. I mean, I'm sure everybody else is glad she didn't play. But hey, and then, but yeah, and some names that we've seen, but then also some new names. You know, Gabrielle Boulay. She had she just keeps winning the 800 every meet. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago had a personal best. She just keeps getting better. But
Centennial.
Then, yes, from Centennial, correct. Janie Halterman of Independence to 1600. But then Hudson, is it? How do you say his last name?
It's Allen.
Allen.
Yep.
I don't know that I've seen that, the 200 and the 400.
He's won some events, but I don't know if it's been those two.
That's right. Pretty neat.
And then what about on the girls' side, Abby Miller? Summit, 300 hurdles. There's a name. That's a good win when you're talking about who she had to defeat.
No doubt.
But you notice, too, again, push has come to shove, and Brentwood on the girls' side wins 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events. On the boys' side, they win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events.
Right. And 5 of those are relays. I'd love to know who won that 4x1 on the girls' side.
Cane Ridge, I believe.
That's what I thought. Hey, here's another one. Hey, get ready for this one, guys. Have fun with this. Did you see on the boys' pole vault? Does that last name look familiar to you?
Right.
There's another one coming. Cannon Kinder with the pole vault championship. That's.
See you in Oregon, Cannon.
Get ready.
Girls are the AA subsectional. Girls, Page, they finished second, Fairview fourth. On the boys' side, Page won, Fairview 2. Congratulations to those schools. Girls' individual results, Sophia Boutros, 1600. Sister finishes second. Blair Visser from Fairview wins the triple jump. Page wins the 4x1. Then on the boys' side, lots of wins.
Yeah.
Page, Matthew, Andrea leading the way for Fairview at the 1600 and 3200. And then Page wins 5 events, including the 4x4 relay. So you can see why Page comes through. Aiden Hack wins the 800. Jordan Rutland, the 300 hurdles. Ryan Mullick, the high jump. Cole Combs, the discus. So congratulations to Page High School and Fairview High School representing WCS very well.
I think Page has got a shot in the state track meet.
They do.
Team-wise, I think they got a shot in the AA. I really do.
Tate, let's talk a little baseball now. And look, we don't want to bag on ourselves, but in maybe look, whatever, the coaches decided it beforehand, but the bracket was a little bit interesting the way it was set up in District 12 at Ravenwood. But the bottom line is the 2 best teams have made it to the final. Summit and Coach Kirby. Ravenwood, Coach Nico with his move from Fairview coming back to Ravenwood makes it all the way to the final. And that was a team that was kind of trying to find themselves. I think Columbia's only district win was against Ravenwood, but when it's mattered, Ravenwood makes it all the way to the final. They win the district tournament. And I'm going to say this, that Ravenwood-Nolensville game, loser out of the tournament, got a feeling that Summit was glad to see Ravenwood win. Because now Summit doesn't have to win the final to advance. Ravenwood with that 7-4 win over Nolensville.
Right, and tell them why, because that
regular season champion automatically goes to the region tournament.
Talked to Coach Boffman about this. I found this hard to believe. This is the first regular season championship they had. And I know we're talking about Ravenwood, but this is the first regular season championship they had. They've had tournament championships before. But the reason why does Ravenwood go through, the regular season champion goes through regardless of what happens. Talk to him about it. Not everybody likes that. I love it. I think, hey man, and I know some sports you can't do it, but I think in baseball.
In baseball, it makes sense.
That is tough to do.
It's really tough.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why you're right. It's big for a couple of reasons. Because one, now they're going through anyways, and they're one of the teams in the final. So you're exactly right. That was big for Summit and also so they don't have to see Mr. McElvain.
I give Nolensville credit. They lose that first game to Independence with McElvain on the hill, and they get all the way back. They win that game against Ravenwood. Now they're in the final. They come up short 7-4. So congratulations, really, to Coach Hudson and Nolensville. First year at this particular level. They moved up in class, but certainly represented themselves very well. Miles Denton for Ravenwood. He was the winning pitcher, and he went 3 for 3. Not a bad day for Miles.
No. That family's pretty good at baseball.
They're okay.
But yeah, and we talked about that on previous shows. All the coaches have said, who's the best? Well, Franklin's playing the best right now, or Summit's playing, or Brentwood. If Ravenwood puts it together, they're scary.
Well, I think they're probably one of the deepest pitching-wise, and they can hit. As you and I know, and they're not necessarily the most dominant number one.
Right.
But they've got several who are similar. And as we know, when the tournament progresses, you're going to be down to pitcher number 3, 4, or some guy that threw JV games only. And if you can hit, it matters. And listen, what Coach Kirby's done and his squad there at Summit this year, it's been kind of quiet. But they defeat Ravenwood 13-6. They're in the final. Heck of a year so far for the Spartans.
Yep. And he really likes his team.
He does.
Yep.
Likes that junior class a lot.
Yep.
It's a really, really good class. In District 11 at Centennial, that tournament still really just getting underway. Centennial with a 10-5 win over Overton. Ryan Connolly goes 4 for 4 with 4 runs scored. Franklin, after losing the opener to Brentwood 3-2, comes back, defeats Hillsboro 13-3. Centennial, Brentwood now face up in what I'm calling the winner's bracket final. It's only 5 teams, but they're the only unbeaten teams left in the bracket. Franklin, Overton in an elimination game. Look out for Franklin now. They're going to beat Overton.
Yes.
And you may get Russell back on the hill for some innings here after that game.
They've beaten everybody at some point. So, yeah, watch out for them because they've already proven they can beat you. And you're right, they're beating Overton. Although
yes.
I think Coach Morrison's one of the best coaches in the state. It's just Overton's not Overton anymore.
The hand he's dealt compared to the hand our teams are dealt, little different hands.
Yes.
We've got some rook cards in there.
That used to be. Ooh.
Yeah, football too. Basketball.
Coach Hudson's one of them.
Yeah, no question. District 8 AAA, congratulations to Paige.
Coach Rutan.
7-6 win over Tullahoma. They get the walk-off. So last inning, they're down a run. Larry Steele drives in Grant Snyder, who had gotten on second base. Steele drives him in. Then you get in a situation where Steele's on third, Ben Turner's on first, and they get into like the double Steele run-down kind of situation. Next thing you know, Mr. Steele scoring, Page wins 7-6. Walk-off, run-down, so to speak. Kind of cool. Remember playing rundown as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Rundown's cool.
It is.
And then you're always worried about getting plunked in the back.
Yes.
When you're running from base to base.
That's exciting.
It is.
I wish I had been there for that. And here's the other great thing. We're big Coach Rutan fans on this show, and Tullahoma kind of thinks they invented baseball. I don't know if you know that or not, but did you know that?
Well, I know Kansas thinks they invented it in basketball, and I think they just won their 3rd national title.
Right. So
they don't quite have 11 or 7.
Nice win. That's. I'm glad they got the win like that. I feel like, did Berman used to do baseball? I would. For some reason, I've got in my head that going back and forth, the whoop whoop. Yeah. If not, maybe.
Well, he at least did it on Sports Center. Remember Bert be home by 11?
Yes, there you go. That's what I mean. Yeah. He would do baseball. That's what it was. Maybe Lance can find that clip and put a little Berman in it.
That'd be great.
That's your homework for the week, Lance.
Hey, Steele, who we talked about getting that key RBI and then the run scored to win it, he had a couple of hits, as did Colin Hurd. We love the multi-sport athlete.
Yep.
Great job, Colin. Connor Montgomery, the winning pitcher. So congratulations to Paige.
Not done yet.
Not done yet. Speaking of not done yet, Fairview with a big win, 2-1 over Harpeth. Hunter Davis, the winning pitcher. So congratulations to Fairview, keeping that thing going. Softball over at Ravenwood High School. That tournament's just getting started. Nolensville, the more things change, the more they stay the same. 8-0 win over Columbia Central. The winning pitcher, Rylan Smith, which leads us to this week's gem. So Rylan, I'm not making this up, by the way. She has now over 300 strikeouts for the season, and she's a junior, by the way.
Correct.
And she's sneaking up on 600 for her career. We're getting into Barbara Campbell.
Win totals.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, she's getting it done now.
She's getting it done. I hope for a couple of reasons they keep advancing in the tournament, because obviously if she gets up close to 700, you would have to think she's going to break 1,000 strikeouts for her career, we need to do some homework on that. There can't be many, if any, that's ever done that here.
Can't be.
And then two, because I think they got a shot, man. I mean, if she's on the mound, you know, and look at the teams they're beating, that's a lot. Not only is that a lot of strikeouts, that's a lot of pitches.
A lot of pitches. And they're on a collision course with Summit again.
Yep.
Summit gets that 6-1 win over Independence. Lily Kate Richards, the winning pitcher.
If you like a pitcher's duel,
Yeah, get to that game.
Lily Kate and Ryland, that's for you.
What were those games in the season? 2-0 and 2-1.
Correct.
Total of 5 runs scored.
Correct. And then they're lighting everybody else up.
Yes.
Not everybody else, but most people up.
This tournament's at Ravenwood, and at the time of this show being taped, Ravenwood Columbia Central still need to play. Shout out to Paige. They lost their first game in the tournament, but they come back with a 9-0 win over Spring Hill. Shelby Buffington, the winning pitcher, with 11 strikeouts. Jackie Linden, 3 for 4 with a double, home run, 3 driven in, and scored 3 runs. Pretty good day for Miss Linden.
Yes. She took care of business.
She did. And then District 11, Tate, again, just getting cranked up. Centennial taking on the Hillsboro Overton winners. Centennial, the number 1 seed. That and baseball both being hosted by Centennial. Franklin Brentwood 2-3. Now, you said something about this. This might not be quite clown show-esque, but maybe in that if you look at the 2 districts, the seating's different. They're playing at a different time in softball and baseball.
Yeah, well, I'm just surprised. Like, I would have thought they had the same.
They would have gotten together as a region.
Would that even be called bylaws? Yeah, right. You're going to meet in the region. You're going to end on different times. I'm just surprised that they're not the same.
Now, I will say this in their defense.
Sounds like a little manipulation. I'm guessing some of the elder coaches had something to do with it, and I have no idea. But you know what I'm saying? This is probably like back in the what
You had
where
no
were you
idea.
9 AAA? This is like you and Luna taking advantage of like a first-year head coach Jeremy Moore. This stinks.
So what
Smells.
you're saying is you might have seen some guys talking in the parking lot before they entered the meeting.
All right, now this is what we're going to do. Follow my lead.
These things do
There's a
happen.
good chance, right?
These things do happen.
Yes, they happen.
Hey, let's talk a little soccer.
Let's go.
Brentwood has to go all the way to PKs to defeat Ravenwood. Man, that would have been an upset. Ravenwood's got a great soccer program.
Yeah.
But Coach Purcell and Brentwood, they've been rolling. They're tied at 1. It goes all the way to PKs, a 3-0 win there for Brentwood. Franklin with an impressive 5-1 win over Centennial. That's a good Centennial team as well.
What does that say to you?
Franklin's playing well,
That's right.
and it's at Franklin.
That's right.
So look out. But now,
Franklin's been there before.
that's right. But now they're okay because they're in the district final. They'll both move on to the region. Good chance that they're going to meet again in the region final. But I do think this with Coach Purcell. If you go back and look at teams that ultimately win it or get real deep, there's always one of those games or matches you look back at and go,
Yeah.
oh man, we barely survived that. That might be that moment for Brentwood.
Could be, because that's what it was. They barely survived it.
I talked to Coach or Mr. Kydell this morning, and he was like, oh man, a little too close for comfort there.
Yes.
Talking about that matchup. Saw him down at the flag football
He gets it.
tournament as well. Does a good job.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Tate, let's finish up with flag football. A lot to be said about this, and you were talking about this too. A couple of things to mention. You got Mr. Burke Nihill, president of the Titans. He comes out and speaks to the crowd there once the tournament was over. You had Josh Corey and his crew there. And listen, I went up to the press box and had the full crew up there working, and they had videos that were girls flag football specific. They had logos on the scoreboard. Tremendous, and I know Ravenwood won it, and I know Ravenwood's happy. But ultimately, you think about it. If these young ladies would have thought even a year ago, I'm going to be playing some form of football, and I'm going to play my tournament at the end of the year at Nissan Stadium, that's pretty special for all players involved.
No doubt about it. We were talking about it like at some point, some of these young ladies, years down the road, are going to be sitting in the stands with their children saying, hey, I played down there on that field. What do you mean? right there on that field I played flag football. You know, they got to walk down the same, what is that, tunnel that the Titans come out. I don't think they drove, but they came. I mean, they walked the same tunnel out onto that same field that Derrick Henry does. Think about that.
It's
very
pretty
cool.
exciting.
They had the live feed up on the
the
Jumbotrons.
replays.
Yeah, it's great.
Joe Williams, we love Joe. Joe did the semifinals and championship games PA-wise for us, which I thought was just great. But he was saying, and I asked some folks with the Titans, and they were kind of thinking about it. We believe that that's the first female high school event in that stadium.
I think it is too.
I can't imagine what it would have been.
I think it is too, unless there was something cheering competition. But I don't think that would have been This was a standalone event. You know, maybe they did it at halftime or whatever. But no, I think you're right. The only boys I can think of is the White House Waverly game this year.
That's right.
Because of the flood. But and hey, you mentioned Mr. Nihill and Josh Corey was there, of course. I thought it was very cool. Mr. Eric Welch, WCS board member, was there.
Mark Reeves.
He was cheering on the young ladies. That's what I was going to say. You think people aren't paying attention. The new executive, or the soon-to-be in a month, executive director of TSAA was there, and he spent quite a bit of time.
It was fantastic. Yeah. And I'll say this, Tate. You know me, I'm a very positive person. Always look at the glass half full. It went even better than I thought it was going to go this year. Because I knew we'd have some hiccups, but thanks to you guys at Mathews team and Adidas, uniforms looked great. I knew that would be on point. I knew our coaches would do a good job. We got the right people coaching, 4 of our head coaches, 1 of our former head coaches. We had top assistants. We had coaches like Coach Beebe and Coach Mancini, females represented. So I knew it would go well. But really, I can't think of many hiccups that we had.
No. I thought they all looked great. And shout out to the girls. They helped. They were the ones, they made sure we want soccer shorts and we want the mid-calf soccer. You know, we were thinking the full calf. And we listened. We talked to some of the young ladies, and they said, no, we don't want that. This isn't soccer. It's flag football. And they were right.
Right.
But and everything you said is dead on. But the thing I was most impressed with, seriously, was the level of play.
Yeah.
On Saturday, they've gotten better as the season has gone on. And you were talking about, I mean, the girls, the quarterbacks threw the ball well. The young ladies are going up and getting the ball, both on, you know, the offensive from the wide receiver position, but then, you know, I loved watching some of the secondary play. There were young ladies out there from the secondary position, you know, backpedaling, staying in their zone, breaking and driving on the ball and picking it off. The way they were running the ball, I thought the level of play was fantastic.
Allie Brown had a few picks there for Ravenwood.
She's a ball hawk. She's DBU.
Miss Thomas running the ball.
Hey, man.
Rath, the quarterback there for Ravenwood.
Well, we talked about it at the beginning, and so now that it's over, you know, Coach Hester, everybody's talking about throwing the ball at the beginning and all that. And Hester had said that, you know, you give your athletes the ball and let them play, let them do the rest. And the easiest way to get your athlete the ball is to hand it to him. They still hadn't tackled her.
No. Well, and just going through some of these results, Independence, the 9 versus 8, they win game 1, 19-6 over Nowensville.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Who did you pick?
We'll get to it. Quarterfinals, Page with the 27-19 win over Centennial. Both of us maybe felt like Centennial would make that happen. But what we didn't know is Mackenzie Cochran
was coming back.
Plays, you know, she gets injured there early in the season. She comes back for the tournament, makes the play of the tournament really in the semifinals against Franklin. But they defeat Centennial. Fairview, great matchup with Summit. It goes to overtime, 15-14 Fairview. Ravenwood 40-7 over Brentwood. Franklin 19-13 over Indy. It sets up some great semis. Page 24-20 over Franklin. Ravenwood 7-6 over Fairview. And in those two games, Mackenzie Cochran makes a great play with like 52 seconds left. Franklin's just trying to basically salt the game away. They pitch it. Cochran, like she's playing defense in that zone defense of Coach Brock's, gets a hand on it, runs it all the way back. Next thing you know, Paige is in the final taking on Franklin.
Is it Pulliam that tweeted the video?
There
It's
were a
somewhere
couple,
on Twitter.
It's Spears, I think, in Tennessee, and might have had something there
I think
too.
Spears had the better angle.
It was incredible.
It is worth your time to find it and watch it. She strung it out. She played it
She did.
perfectly, tipped it up so it would be live, because if it hits the ball,
That's
it hits
right.
the ground and flag football is dead, and housed it. It was impressive.
It was incredible. The Ravenwood game, Fairview, with less than a minute to go, they have an extra point to try to tie it. Ravenwood ends up stopping that to go to the final. Then the final felt a little anticlimactic. Certainly great job by Paige making it there, but Ravenwood peaked in that game.
Played their best game.
They did.
Well, and here's the crazy thing. No doubt about it, Paige had the upset of the tournament. It's not even close.
They did.
Give Franklin their first loss in the semifinals. Shout out to you. You said at the beginning the top 4 teams, in no particular order, were Franklin, Ravenwood, Fairview, and Paige. That's who made it. But think about if you're Fairview, watching that final. They beat Paige 42-0, and Ravenwood barely beat them in the semis. You know, Fairview's got to be thinking, we could have.
They were right there.
We were right there.
And you mentioned it a little bit, so let's go ahead and get to it. You had Independence over Nowensville. I had Nowensville to win. And then ultimately, I had Franklin to come through. You had Ravenwood. So you dusted me very much like the championship game in the tournament. Well, I'm just so proud that we were the ones in WCS to get to pilot this program.
I loved it, man. I loved it. And then shout out to Coach Hester. For those that didn't know, he still had those nimble feet. Macy Fowler had the Gatorade jug and was going to douse him. I don't know if he got tipped off or what, but he took off, man. I don't think he can run 100, but he can still get it for about 15, 20 yards.
It was great. Congratulations to Coach, and just like all these coaches, took it very seriously. And Coach Mancini did a great job with the defense, so congratulations to them. I'm looking forward to some other districts getting this thing rolling because it just seems obvious to me it's next.
It's coming. It's coming. And it should. That's the other thing. It should. And I'm glad y'all laid it out.
Well, appreciate you too. From this point forward, Tate, until we get to the Wilco's, it's all spring fling all the time.
So you're saying Brentwood's getting 2 state? Okay.
2 team state titles. I really think they're going to get 2.
Countywide, how many state championships we getting?
So we got 4. I'm going to say we get to 7. 17.
That's pretty strong.
And some more individuals too.
We're gonna have some individuals.
Yeah. Maybe 8, but I feel confident in 7. Because I think we might get 2 tennis.
We could. Should.
Soccer, and track, and maybe baseball. Maybe softball.
If we can get soccer, that's the swing right there. I think we can. It's just I hope we don't cancel each other out.
I agree. Tate, appreciate you being here.
You too, brother.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.